Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zeroing in on a market you might not think about every day, but it's actually a pretty significant player in global commerce. Carpet yarn.
Hmm.
We've got this detailed recent report that's really quite illuminating about what's happening.
Absolutely. And, this report projects the global carpet yarn market to reach a really substantial USD 581.5 million. That's for 2025.
Wow. And that's just the starting point, right?
Exactly. By 2033, the forecast jumps up to USD 206.902.09 million.
That kind of growth, I mean, nearly a $10 billion jump, it really makes you wonder what's driving it all and, where the key opportunities might lie.
For sure.
So that's basically our mission for you today. We're going to try and extract the most crucial, the most fascinating insights from this data-packed report.
Yeah, make it easy to grasp whether you're in the business world or maybe just curious about material science.
Or even just thinking about new flooring for your house, maybe.
Right. Our goal is really just to cut through all the data and highlight the really significant trends and projections.
Yeah.
Hopefully give you a fresh perspective on this whole industry.
Okay, let's get into it then. The big picture first. We've seen those impressive numbers, but to really get a handle on the momentum here.
You mean the CAGR?
Exactly, the compound annual growth rate. So that growth from about $17.5 billion to almost $27 billion. That works out to a CAGR of 5.50% between 2025 and 2033.
Right. And it's worth remembering, CAGR is like the average annual growth rate over that whole period, kind of smoothing out any, ups and downs year to year.
Yeah, good point.
And what's also interesting, I think, is the time frame the report uses. It sets 2024 as the baseline. Then it looks back at the 4 years before that, 2021 to 2024, and then projects forward to 2033.
So you get that historical context. That's crucial, yeah, for understanding the forces that are shaping the market's path now.
Precisely.
Okay. And it's definitely not like a one-size-fits-all story across the globe, is it? North America, for instance, currently holds the lion's share.
Yeah, over 40% of the total market. That's estimated at USD 605.16 million in 2025.
A huge chunk.
It is. But while North America is the leader right now, its projected growth rate, that CAGR of 4.0% from 2025 to 2033, it's solid, but it's not actually the highest we're going to see.
Okay.
And within North America, the U.S. is, the dominant player. About USD 532.57 million in 2025, with a CAGR of 3.8%.
And what's driving that in the U.S. specifically?
The report points to a growing appetite for environmentally friendly carpets and also higher-end, more upscale options. That seems to be a big factor.
Yeah, that tracks with broader consumer trends, doesn't it? We see that in a lot of sectors. What about Canada and Mexico?
Well, Canada's showing slightly faster growth, actually, a CAGR of 4.8% and a 2025 market size around USD 780.62 million.
Okay.
And interestingly, the report specifically mentions the increasing popularity of recycled and environmentally conscious yarns as a key driver there in Canada.
So that eco-focus again.
Exactly. And Mexico, its market is around USD 591.97 million for 2025, also looking at healthy growth. Projected CAGR of 4.5%.
Right. Okay, let's shift focus. Europe. It also commands a pretty substantial portion of the market, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Over 30% globally. The value is expected to be about USD 598.64 million in 2025, with a projected CAGR of 4.6%.
And what stands out in Europe? Is it similar drivers?
It's a bit more diverse, actually. You've got rising demand for both aesthetically pleasing and sustainable flooring, especially in commercial spaces like offices, hotels.
Right, the look and the eco-credential.
Yeah. And then you've got Germany. It has this notably strong demand in the automotive textile sector.
Oh, interesting. So not just for floors and buildings.
Not at all. Germany's market there is about USD 1,009.53 million with a 4.8% CAGR. So yeah, carpet yarn is definitely not just for our homes.
Good point. And the report breaks down some other key European countries, too.
It does. The UK, for example, is seeing a strong 5.4% mid-AGR. Market size around USD 856.57 million. And that's largely fueled by increasing demand for premium wool carpets.
Ah, wool, high-end.
Exactly. Then France is looking at more moderate growth, about 3.8%. Russia's at 3.6%. Italy 4.0%, Spain 3.7%.
Uh-huh.
And even some of the, smaller European markets, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, they're all showing pretty consistent growth, mostly in the 4% range.
It really highlights how local factors can shape things, doesn't it? Like the UK's high-end residential focus versus Germany's automotive angle.
Completely different sectors driving growth, yeah.
Now let's talk about where the real acceleration seems to be happening. The report flags the Asia-Pacific region, APAC, as the fastest growing.
That's right. An impressive projected CGR of 8.2% between 2025 and 2033.
Wow, 8.2%.
Now, currently, APAC holds around 23% of the global market, with a size of about USD 419.56 million expected in 2025.
And what's behind that rapid growth in APAC?
It seems to be largely down to widespread industrialization, increasing urbanization, and just significant investments in infrastructure right across the region.
Makes sense.
China, of course, is a major contributor here. Market size of USD 1772.22 million in 2025. CAGR of 7.7%.
Yeah.
Driven by its huge scale of carpet production, which is linked to, well, booming real estate and construction.
Right. And it's not just China seeing this surge, is it?
Not at all. Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, Taiwan.
Yeah.
They're all showing really robust growth rates, mostly in the 6% to 8% range.
Okay.
But the real standout in APAC, purely in terms of growth rate, is India.
Oh, yeah.
Projected CGR of 10.1%. That's huge.
Yeah.
For the 2025 market size, around USD 421.96 million, the report highlights increased exports, both machine-made and hand-woven carpets, as a key factor there.
10% growth rate. That's significant. And Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia as a whole is also a really high growth area, looking at a CAGR of 9.0%.
So APAC is really where a lot of the future demand seems to be building. The scale of development there, it just creates this massive need for flooring, and carpets are a big slice of that.
Definitely the region to watch for future growth.
Okay, what about South America? The report says it holds over a 5% market share.
Yeah, about USD 668.1 million in 2025 and a projected CAGR of 6.2%.
Yeah.
Still very healthy growth.
And the drivers there?
In South America, it seems growth is being supported by the expanding automotive sector, similar to Germany in a way, but also a demand for more affordable carpet options.
Okay.
Brazil, for instance, market size USD 285.95 million, CGR 6.8%. It's seeing a rise in the popularity of synthetic yarns, especially in commercial and hospitality settings.
Right. Synthetics often being more budget-friendly.
Exactly. And Argentina's market, about USD 112.24 million, with a high CGR of 7.1%, that's driven more by household demand for cost-effective stuff like polyester and polypropylene.
Got it. Now, the Middle East, smaller share, around 2%.
Yep, around 2%. But USD 703.26 million in 2025, but still showing a healthy CAGR of 6.8%. And what's fueling that?
It's closely tied to big investments in infrastructure projects, also the development of luxury resorts, and the expansion of the healthcare industry.
Ah, okay. Specific sectors.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are key markets. And Turkey is noted as a significant hub for carpet manufacturing itself.
Right.
Also worth mentioning, Qatar's demand for high-end premium carpets, which is driven by its own infrastructure and luxury resort development.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Finally, Africa. Smallest share, around 1%.
Around 1%, yes. Market size about USD 386.79 million in 2025, projected to grow at a CAGR of 5.8%.
And the story there.
It seems to be the increasing disposable income of the growing middle class, plus ongoing urbanization across the continent. That's leading to more spending on home decor, including carpets.
Okay.
And there's another factor, the growth of the sports and leisure industry. That's creating demand for specialized carpet yarns in places like stadiums, you know?
Interesting application.
Yeah, South Africa and Nigeria are the biggest markets within the region. So it really is a global market, but with such a diverse set of growth engines in different places.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about the types of yarn that are really gaining traction. The report gives us some clues here.
It does. It suggests that nylon is likely to maintain its position as a pretty dominant material.
Okay. Why nylon?
Well, primarily because it's got this well-established reputation for resilience, really good stain resistance, and just general durability. That makes it a go-to choice for high-traffic areas, both homes and commercial buildings.
Right, the workhorse yarn.
Kind of. And importantly, there's also a growing emphasis on developing and using more environmentally responsible nylon options, so eco-nylon, basically.
That makes perfect sense given the big sustainability push everywhere. But the report also points to polyester as the fastest growing segment. What's going on there?
Yeah, polyester's rise is fueled by a few things. First, it's generally more affordable compared to some other yarns like nylon or wool.
Okay, price matters.
Definitely. But it still offers good durability, and it's pretty low maintenance.
Mhm.
It also resists fading and stains quite well.
So, good value.
Exactly. And the other big factor is the increasing use of recycled polyester, or RPET. That's a huge driver because it aligns perfectly with that rising demand for sustainable materials.
Ah, so you get the cost effectiveness and the green credentials with RPET.
Precisely. It's a powerful combination driving its growth.
So nylon's the established leader, polyester's the fast-growing challenger. The report also mentions others, right? Polypropylene, cotton, wool, acrylic.
Yeah, it mentions those, although it doesn't really dive into specific growth rates for each one individually.
Okay.
But it's important to remember they still fill important niches. Each has its own properties and uses. Wool, for instance, is still highly valued for that natural, luxurious feel and warmth.
Right, for high-end residential, maybe?
Exactly. And polypropylene, that's often used in more budget-friendly carpets or even for outdoor applications sometimes.
Gotcha. Okay, so we know about the regions, we know about the yarn types. Let's think about who is actually using all this yarn, the end users.
Right. The report analyzes the end user segments and the residential sector. That currently accounts for the largest share of the market.
No surprise there, I guess.
Not really. It's driven by, well, the basic desire for comfort, making homes look nice, that feeling of home. Consumers want carpets that look good, but also last and are easy to clean.
Makes sense.
And we're also seeing trends within residential towards more luxurious interior designs, more home renovation projects.
People spending more on their homes.
Yeah. And again, that growing preference for eco-friendly materials, like using recycled fibers in home carpets.
That eco theme just keeps popping up. What about the other side, industrial and commercial?
Well, the industrial segment is actually experiencing pretty significant growth, too.
Okay. Why is that?
It's driven by the need for really durable, long-lasting, practical flooring. Think warehouses, factories, really high-traffic commercial spaces like shops or transport hubs.
Right, places that take a beating.
Exactly. And in those settings, synthetic yarns like nylon and polypropylene are really popular because they're just so robust and easy to maintain.
Makes sense for those applications.
And, mirroring the residential side, there's also increasing interest in sustainable options within the industrial segment as well. Businesses want to show their green credentials too.
It's fascinating how sustainability is just becoming this common thread everywhere. Okay, so how does all this yarn actually get from the producer to the carpet maker? Distribution channels.
Good question. The report indicates that direct sales currently make up the largest market share.
So yarn producer selling straight to the carpet manufacturer.
Exactly. This lets the producers build direct relationships, maybe offer more tailored product choices.
Like custom colors or textures.
Yeah, or specific sustainable yarn options. It also gives producers more control over their brand image, their messaging. And we're seeing more use of online platforms for these direct B2B deals too.
Okay, so direct relationships are key. But the report also flags another area that's growing fast in distribution.
Yes, indirect sales. That's a significant growth area.
How does that work?
That involves producers working through middlemen, basically. Distributors, wholesalers, retailers.
Yeah.
They sell the yarn onto the carpet manufacturer.
Ah, okay. Using intermediaries.
Right. And this indirect approach is really vital for expanding market reach, getting the yarn out to a much broader range of potential customers. It offers more variety and accessibility for the manufacturers too, because they can tap into the established networks and the retail presence of these intermediaries.
Right, you can reach more people by using existing channels. Okay. Now, the report also boils down some of the key factors that are really propelling this market forward, the main drivers.
Absolutely. Number one seems to be the rising demand for both home and commercial interior design.
Just people and businesses wanting nicer spaces.
Pretty much. As they invest more in their spaces, the need for quality carpets and the yarns that go into them just naturally goes up.
Makes sense. And technology must play a role too, advancements in how yarn is made.
Definitely. Ongoing innovations in yarn manufacturing techniques. They're leading to better performance, new textures, more sustainable ways of producing yarn. That all helps stimulate market growth.
Okay.
And finally, just the general global expansion of construction and real estate. More buildings mean more floors to cover, which creates a fundamental demand for flooring like carpets.
Simple as that sometimes. But what about the flip side? Are there things holding the market back? Restraints?
Yeah, there are a couple of key challenges mentioned. One is simply competition from other types of flooring.
Like hardwood, laminate, tiles.
Exactly. Those alternatives offer different looks, different functional benefits, and their popularity definitely influences demand for carpets.
Sure.
The other big factor is the volatile price of raw materials. Things like wool, nylon, polyester, polypropylene.
Yeah.
Their prices can fluctuate quite a bit.
And that hits the manufacturer's costs.
Right. It impacts production costs and can squeeze the profitability for the carpet yarn makers.
Okay. And just to crystallize things, what are the big overarching trends we should really keep an eye on?
The report really emphasizes two major trends. First, that rising demand for eco-friendly and sustainable yarns. It's undeniable, shaping product development, shaping consumer choice right across the board.
Okay, sustainability is number one.
And second, the growing preference for synthetic fibers, driven by their cost, their durability, their versatility. That's a really significant trend influencing the whole market mix.
Got it. Sustainability and synthetics. Finally, let's just briefly touch on who the major players are in this global game.
Sure. The report indicates that the leading companies are really focusing on being cost-effective, being sustainable, and being innovative to stay ahead.
Makes sense. Any names mentioned?
Yeah, big corporations like Aquafil, Terray Industries, Universal Fibers, and Bewley Fibers International.
Yeah.
They're highlighted as key players, known for advanced fiber tech and, again, those environmentally conscious solutions.
Okay. But it sounds like it's not just giant corporations. There are regional players, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Regional producers often compete really effectively by focusing on, localized production and offering customized products, things tailored to the specific needs of their local markets.
Right.
And the overall competition is heating up, apparently, driven by that demand for durable synthetics, options for digital customization, recycled yarns. It's pushing companies to invest more in R&D and make strategic moves like expansions.
And the report actually gives a few specific examples of what companies are doing.
It does, yeah. For instance, back in January 2024, BIG Yarns, they're European, introduced new BCF yarns.
BCF?
Oh, sorry. BCF is bulked continuous filament. It's a type of yarn known for its bulk and texture, used a lot in carpets. Anyway, these new PE yarns were specifically for automotive carpets.
Ah, targeting that German market, maybe.
Could be. And then, December 2021, Circular Systems and Nishat Mills made an agreement to boost their production of recycled cotton yarns.
More risk.
Exactly. And going back to January 2021, Aquafil actually acquired a company called Planet Recycling. That signaled their move into carpet collection and recycling, really highlighting how important that circular economy idea is becoming.
Wow. Okay, so lots happening on the company front, too. So let's try and recap our deep dive into this report, then. The global carpet yarn market looks like it's on a steady growth path, right?
Definitely. Driven by a whole mix of factors with some really interesting regional differences.
And the key trends to watch seem to be that increasing demand for sustainable options.
Absolutely. And the continued prominence, even growth, of synthetic fibers like polyester and nylon.
So hopefully you now have a much clearer picture of the dynamics shaping this multi-billion-dollar global industry.
Yeah, from the types of yarn being used, the regions growing fastest, the end users, right down to the key companies involved.
And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. Given this accelerating focus on sustainability that we've talked about so much, how might breakthroughs in, say, bio-based yarns or maybe truly circular carpet yarn production, how might that further transform this market in the years ahead?
That's a great question. And also, what new applications for carpet yarn might pop up as material science keeps advancing so rapidly? Could we see carpets used in ways we haven't even thought of yet?
Fascinating possibilities. Well, this deep dive gives you a really detailed snapshot based on the report, but of course the full report itself has even more detail on segmentation, competitors, future projections, if you're interested in digging even deeper.
Lots more data in there.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.